name is Monica.
My name's GK.
And today
It's
part two. Obviously a new day. It's Vlogmas day 12. Continuing on, yesterday, if you guys watched the previous video, we had 2 case folders and we did the first one. So now we're moving on to the second one, and this one is the murder investigation. We have a field interview notebook. We have a letter to Marsha Underwood from Peru. This is the letter. She forged to herself or something? That was supposed to be from Carrie. This is an incident report. We have this letter that it's basically like a sticky note, and it says, business is terrible, too much work, too much pressure, I can't do this anymore, I'm leaving, I'm going away, don't look for me, I'm sorry, Carrie. So this is a letter that apparently they said that it proves that he left on his own, but his wife Marsha said that he always signs letters C, so this is definitely forged. It's not Carrie. We have more newspaper clippings. We have letters. Did you want to read the letter out loud?
Oh, it says, Marsha, I am okay. I'm living the life I want. I'm sorry to have hurt you and hope you have moved on. Please don't try to find me.
And that man was dead.
Carrie, but it always signs in C.
Yeah, so the only real letter is the one that we seen yesterday with the sticky note where he was like, see you Friday or whatever. And then back to this. This was the floor plan for the office. So you can see the staircase down to the wine cellar, his office, the reception, and the showroom. So now we have more newspaper clippings. I'm not reading the whole thing, but I will read the title. It says, Missing Vichy Springs resident sends letter home. Oh, so this is when I guess he sent the letter, or sent the letter. On Monday, April 3rd, 2000, Vichy Springs, exactly 5 years ago today, on April 3rd, 1995, a Monday, just like it is now, local business owner Carrie Underwood disappeared. A note left on the desk in the office in Underwood Cellar, a business still making wines today, suggests that he had up and left without telling anyone, without giving him a full reason why. And then they haven't heard from him, at least not until a week ago. After nearly 5 years, Carrie Underwood's wife, Marsha Underwood, said she received a typewritten note from her husband saying he's okay and not to try to find him. The letter had no return address, but it was postmarked from Cusco, Peru. The next paper clipping is Napa Valley's return to greatness. I'm not reading it. And then the last one is local man disappears. So it's another news article about when he disappeared. He was last seen by his secretary, Eloise White, at 5 p.m. Friday at his Underwood Cellar office.
This is the incident report. It says Carrie Underwood, 2138 Monticello Road, was reported missing by his wife, Marsha Underwood, at 8:15 on April 1st, 1995. Mrs. Underwood said that her husband failed to return home the previous night. She admitted he frequently came home late and she often goes to bed before he is home. He was not at home when she awoke at 7:15 in the morning, and his bed had not been slept in. He sleeps in his own room. There is no evidence of foul play in the Carrie Underwood missing persons case. Disappearance of both man and car suggests husband might have left of his own free will. On the other hand, all parties familiar with the missing man consider such action unusual, if not inexplicable.
I don't know.
His wife does not believe that the note found on his desk. She says if there was a problem, he would have spoken with her directly, not just left.
Okay, that doesn't tell us anything new. Now we have the field interview notebook. But you know Marsha doesn't drive a car.
So she say?
No, she doesn't drive.
Oh, she doesn't drive. She said she'll have somebody take her to work or something.
I know, but they said that the neighbor saw 2 cars parked out. And then, remember, she also said that she saw somebody walking.
Right.
So it had to be Marsha and somebody else. And you know she was real fond of Miguel. There was also his partner, Mark. It's from France, babe. Oh.
Does it say it on here that it's from
yes,
France?
it does.
Oh, I didn't read that part.
You should get Google Translate on that. So the field interview notebook is kind of just like interviews from like the day that he passed. So this is before they know Sandra's his mistress. This is before they think it's a homicide. They really just think he's a missing person that left willingly.
Alright. So they have this underground cellars. It says March 8, 1995. Dear Mike, sure, we can accommodate your group on Thursday the 23rd. Just give my secretary Eloise a call and she'll handle the arrangements. Regards, Carrie. So this is from Carrie. Thursday, March 30th. Dear Sandy, I hope you get this in time. Don't want to call in case Hank picks up the phone. I have a late meeting tomorrow, so I can't make it as planned. We can meet in the gallery next week. We need to be careful. I think Marcia's getting suspicious and figures I'm having an affair. Oh, this is a map. Underwood House, Cellars. Google Maps.
Kind of just telling us like where everything is. So Vichy Springs is right here, and then a mile, well, less than a mile away from that is the home of the neighbor across the street, Miguel's cabin behind the Underwood Cellar Vineyard sales office, and then the Underwood House, and then the vineyard, which is right here. Google Translate it. So we have this letter that's in French, which I'm assuming is from Mark, because I think Mark is the French one. And GK's gonna Google Translate it. Wait, so this letter to Sandy about like not being able to make it the next day and trying to be careful because he thinks Marsha's getting suspicious about their affair was literally the day before he passed. It has to be Marsha.
I think it was Marcia.
But it can't just be her. You know, there was somebody else in here that had almost the exact same story as her.
Alright, I got it. Uh-oh. It's to Unprofessional Champagne Wine Committee in France, September 24th, 1982. Carrie Underwood and I would like to introduce you to Underwood Cellars, a California wine company in business since 1946. We produce excellent wines, one of which is so exceptional that we would like to label it champagne rather than like a sparkling.
Should we just see if it's Marsha? Or should we go?
Yes.
Or should we go to the website and get a hint and see if we're on the right track?
Yeah, let's go to the website. Oh.
So we kind of have a feeling it's Marsha, but we're gonna go to the website from the first page that says read first. And it says the misplaced file folder that contains hints to solving the mystery is available online. So that's what we're gonna do now.
We showed y'all in part 1.
But what if they didn't watch it?
Then why would you watch part 2 and then you watch part 1? Which file are we opening? They got David's, Miguel's.
David. I want to make sure that he's crossed out. And I wasn't tripping.
Here's a troubled youth who finally turned his life around. Yeah, he owned the building where his brother was found, and he knew about the hidden cellar, but the important thing is to remember that he was a lefty. Yes!
That's what I said! I'm such a good detective.
Which file are we on next? We got Miguel's, the car, and Vichy Lake. I look, want to try that one.
Okay, let's do Vichy Lake, because we were confused when we got the picture of the car drowning. Don't know how to connect that, so let's see what that's about.
The drought was drying everything up, including the lakes. When the waters in Vichy Lake started to recede, Carrie's car turned up, but without Carrie in it. So who drove it to the lake, and how did he/she leave?
That was his car, and they left walking.
And don't try to make it easy for yourself by saying 2 people were working together.
So it wasn't 2 people. So Marsha lying ass. You were right. She was probably lying about not driving.
Told you.
She probably drove his car into the lake and then walked, or bike. She said she would bike.
Yeah.
Everywhere. And literally, that's what the Google map was for. I'm pretty sure it was showing us the lake and how far it was from like the vineyard and the house and stuff.
That's probably why she biked there.
0.3 miles.
Yeah, so she had to bike there. And then got in his car, drove to the lake, then got on the bike, went back home.
Okay, what's the other files?
Oh yeah, because daylight saving time, Miss Lindquist Walker, Sandra, the hidden seller, French letter translation, which we already found that out. The car in Richie Lake, Miguel, and then David.
Wait, what was the first one?
Daylight saving time.
Let's do that one. Daylight saving times, that was... Whose alibi was that? I think it was Mark. Because Mark had said that he was at his home taking a call from France.
Oh.
And because of daylight saving times, that's how he
thought
knew.
It was the neighbor. Let me read it. As soon as the sleuths see something about a daylight saving time, they look for 1 hour alibi glitch somewhere. The neighbor Margaret Lindquist made reference to daylight saving time in her interview. Sorry, but lots of people don't have a clue about daylight saving time, and neither does this case.
So it could be the neighbor? I thought it was going to be about Mark. Is there a Mark file folder?
No.
What's the next folder?
Miss Lindquist.
That's the neighbor. Okay, let's go to her.
No, Miss Lindquist didn't need a walker. She was in pretty good shape for someone her age. We mean the person she saw walking on the night of Carrie's disappearance. Think about it. There are two cars. One drives away. Someone comes walking along the road. The second car drives away. Maybe now you can connect the walker to two cars.
That had to be, if we're going with our theory that it was Marsha, that had to be her. So there's two cars, right?
Yeah.
The first car is Carrie's car. She drives it to the lake. No bike. She walks back. And then gets into the other car. I don't know. That one's hard. Go to the next file. What's the next file?
Sandra.
Okay, Sandra.
Remember the letter in Carrie's desk addressed to her? City
Yeah.
man, may he rest in peace. Didn't have a stamp and certainly wasn't going to give the letter to his secretary, so he put it in his desk drawer to deal with it later. Oops, he forgot to get a stamp and mail it. So where do you think Sweet Sandy was Friday evening when Carrie was killed?
Huh? Wait, where was she?
She said she was at home and her son went to work.
Oh. Well, what's that got to do with the letter? Do you get it?
I don't get what this have to do.
What are they trying to say? That she was there with him?
I guess. Wait.
But what does she have to benefit from him dying? She wasn't in his will. I don't know what her motive would be.
I think she has something to do with it, though. I mean, not Sandra, Marsha. My bad. I don't think Sandra had really... I don't know, but seems like she does have something to do with it.
Okay, what's the next file?
The hidden seller.
The hidden seller? Okay. Go ahead.
The separate door to Carrie's office, a movable bookshelf with a secret stairway down to a hidden room, a toilet, a sink, and a bed. Carrie coming home late a lot. Do we have to spell it out for you?
Yes. Wait. One more time?
He was sneaking his mistress down there.
Yeah, but we knew that.
Yeah.
Sandra said that. So it was Sandra? But why?
I don't know if it's Sandra for sure.
Okay. I don't know. Move on. Next one.
David Miguel.
Yeah, Miguel.
Do you really think Miguel used his key to the office to get in, kill poor Carrie, and write a disappearance note to leave it on the desk? Do you think Miguel benefited in any way in Carrie's death? We don't.
I never thought anything about Miguel, so.
He's dead. French letter translation.
And that's it? But now I'm like messed up because all of what they said is pointing towards Sandra and the neighbor. They said nothing about Marsha.
I'm confused.
Me too. What the heck? Are we just gonna put it in? See what happens?
Give me the link.
Okay, but first we have to say, we have to tell them our theory.
We
We
think
have
it's
to
Marsha.
No, along with how, when, where, and why.
Well, what's the how? How we think it's Marsha?
No, like how she did it.
Yeah. I don't know. Marsha just lies a lot. So I feel like if she didn't actually do it, she has something to do with it.
How? Okay, I know the how. We all know the how. Whoever it was, they killed him with the murder weapon around 8:20. I would say from like 8 to 8:30. That was when. Where? In the underground cellar. Why?
She had it,
Because of the will.
or she had a feeling that he was having an affair.
Or because of the affair. And we're gonna say Marsha. Put it in the thing.
It gives final hit 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. Final hints. Final hints. Go ahead. What's the first one?
The note left on Carrie Underwood's desk. Too bad nobody thought of checking the note sooner. The fact that Carrie's fingerprints were not on the note set off some warning bells. Here he was supposedly telling everybody he was leaving, yet it was his own fingerprints that were nowhere to be found, as nowhere as he was at the time, and whose handwriting was it really?
Okay. I can work with that. So we go to the sticky note picture.
Marsha did that.
We don't know. We have to compare. It does kind of look like his hand. No, he writes in cursive. Let's see.
But she said he always writes in C. It says Carrie.
Yeah, we know it wasn't him. Oh, wait. Dear Mike. No, this is Carrie too. This is...
That's the France people.
But is there anywhere where our suspects write something? There's nowhere? They don't even sign the paper? Next hint. Yeah.
The 2 cars and the walker. The kindly Miss Lindquist told us about the 2 cars late in the evening in the Underwood Cellars parking lot and the unusual sight of a pedestrian. This information is anything but pedestrian. Carrie and someone unknown to us but known to him are meeting in the cellar, hidden underground cellar. Their cars are parked out front. After the unfortunate murder, the perpetrator can easily leave the body where it is, but not the car. So he or she drives the car to the nearby Vichy Lake and pushes it down the banks into the water. She or he doesn't even have to weigh the thing down. It sinks out of sight. Then this person walks back to the parking lot. It is only just over half a mile, gets into their car and drives home. Fits Mrs. Lindquist's story perfect.
That's what I said. Is that not what I said? Is that not what I said?
You did not
Is
say
that
no.
Baby, that's exactly what I said.
That's what you said.
But are they trying to say it was the neighbor then? Or are they just saying that she was right? Like,
No,
that's what she saw.
They're saying like her story fits perfect, so that's what she saw.
Okay. And then the last hint?
Final hit number 3. A broken bottle and a bottleneck with the cork still in it. Imagine you are facing someone you know well, arguing as you often do. Again, your anger comes out like a trigger. Carrie has grabbed an unopened bottle of fine wine, grasping the middle of the bottle with a strong hand, and is holding it out toward you. Not as a gesture of friendship, but as a peace offering. This is how he douses every argument with wine. With this, let's have a drink and forget about our differences, nonchalance. But this time, your anger does not subside and is an inexplicable instance of rage. You snap, you explode, you grab the bottle by the neck with your thumb downward, wrenching it from his hand as his fingers slide down the bottle. Now it is no longer a bottle, but a club. You swing it at him with such force that the bottle breaks and he slumps to the floor. You're left holding the broken neck of the bottle with the cork still in it. Don't forget to wipe the fingerprints off.
That's Marsha, man. I mean, what else?
Oh, they got who did it? Miguel, David, Sandra, Mark, Marsha, and Luis.
Okay, open Marsha.
Wait, do you want to open hers first? Or should we open it last?
Open David. Because I know David didn't do it.
I mean, it has like a description of why they didn't do it, but
David, because he's left-handed.
Who's next?
Open Miguel. He didn't do it. Why?
Don't rule him out just because he died before the murder of Carrie Underwood was discovered. Rule him out because he had nothing to gain from Underwood's death. In fact, it opened the possibility that he might lose the cabin and property bequeathed to him by the elder Lance Underwood. No evidence whatsoever points in Miguel's direction.
Okay, who else do we think? You choose the next one. Who else do we think didn't do it?
Mark. I don't think Mark did.
Okay, Mark.
Carrie Underwood, business partner, had the most to gain by Carrie's death. He would take over Carrie's 60% of business, which the new healthy bonds could be quite lucrative, provided by the course that Carrie was declared dead. Did you compare the handwriting on the note left on Carrie's desk explaining his disappearance with the letter written by Mark to that French winery? If you did, you would see that although the note was written so as to forge Carrie's handwriting, certain letters in the Y and the G and the T in the note were exactly the same as in Mark's letter. Pull it out.
But what are they trying to say? He did it?
No, I didn't. I'm covering the guilty or not guilty right here.
But I compared it. I don't see a similarity.
Look at the Y and the T. Carrie's Y, his Y. You see the T up here?
Okay.
He
had the most to gain, but didn't it say that after he died, he didn't even end up getting more of the business? He still had 40 because Marsha took over.
Carrie's handwriting, certain letters such as the Y, the G, and the T in the note were exactly the same as in Mark's letter, different from the way Carrie did it in his letter to Mike on March 8th and on the nose of the receipt. Recipe, my bad. And the only reason someone would have written that disappearance note was if he was the person guilty of that disappearance, the murder of Carrie Underwood. There are the little things like when Mark said he didn't know Carrie was missing until the police came to his house on Monday afternoon, but Marsha had called him Saturday to ask if he had seen Carrie. Then there's a third set of shoe prints in the cellar that did not belong to Carrie or Sandy. So, are there Mark's prints? Surely the business partner had been in the private cellar more than a few times. And then there's Mark's alibi. He would have done better to keep his mouth shut. First off, he stated that he was on the phone between 8:30 and 9 p.m. Around the time Carrie was killed. Carrie disappeared between 5 p.m. and early the next morning, during the time which he was probably killed. But this time of death was never announced, recorded, or written in the paper. So how did Mark know that was when he died? Secondly, Mark went into great lengths to describe the time difference as being 8 hours instead of 9 because
I thought the same thing. The detective asks him one question, like the first question, and he literally had a paragraph for me to read, and I was like, he's talking his butt off. He's hiding something.
Including France, of course, was on daylight saving time, but the U.S. was not until Sunday night. True, there was an 8-hour difference at the time instead of usually 9. The only problem is that the 8-hour difference was in another direction, meaning like it was not 12:30 in the afternoon in France, as Mark claimed. It was 4:30 in the morning. 4:30 a.m. since France is 8 or 9 hours later than the U.S. I doubt that he could reach a French business at that hour. We'll never know whether Mark's killing of Carrie was a moment of rage or a moment of opportunity. I'm not sure even Mark knows. We doubt it was premeditated. Mark would have been more careful with the note he scribbled out and left on Carrie's desk, suggesting Carrie just up and left. When confronted with facts, Mark Toulas admitted that he sometimes met in the hidden cellar accessible only through Carrie's office. This was Carrie's thing, he said. And if they ever got into one of those arguments, the raised voices couldn't be heard outside. Mark said he didn't know what possessed him to grab the bottle out of Carrie's hand and swing it against his partner's head, and that he was never meant to kill him. But once he became aware that Carrie was dead, he realized he could just leave the body there and it'll obviously never be found. obviously Mark wasn't thinking about the mistress at the time. He didn't have to dispose of the body, but he did have to get rid of Carrie's car. He drove it to the nearby lake and pushed it down the bank. Then he walked back and drove his own car back. Guilty. I thought it was Marsha so bad.
Dang. Why was it not Marsha? Because she don't drive?
Guilty, but not of the murder of her husband. She was guilty of faking a letter that she wrote for her husband's signature, which she had then put it in a sealed envelope, addressed it to herself, folded it, and sent it to an envelope to the woman she had befriended in Peru, where she and Carrie stayed for their honeymoon. Then the woman put a local Peruvian stamps on the inner envelope and mailed it back to Marsha in California. Generally, a person in California and some other states can be declared dead after being missing for 5 years. But before that time expired, she executed her scheme. If her husband were declared legally dead, the entire Underwood Cellars operation would be turned over to Mark, and she would be no more than a simple employee. But she wasn't simple, was she? Under California law, Mark, by the way, could not have his partner declared legally dead because he would benefit by that ruling. So he went on receiving 40% of the profits of what should rightfully been all his. On another thing, Marsha had suspicions that Carrie was having an affair, but she wouldn't have killed her husband for his indiscretions, especially since she didn't even know, as it turned out, the woman that he was having an affair with. And in the same way, she didn't want him declared dead because she got almost nothing from his will. Remember, they lost a lot of money because of the Vine disease. She wouldn't want to kill him either. Divorce would have been much more profitable than the murder. But an important clue that clears Marsha Underwood is that the fact that she can't or doesn't drive a car.
Dang.
But you said Marsha right with me though.
Well, we failed again.
I'm not doing these no more.
It took us so long just to be wrong. That rhymed. But I don't know. I mean, it was fun. He didn't have fun, clearly.
I don't be liking them. We did one before that, and we was like, my head was hurting, trying to figure that thing out. But it was, what's the name, Mark, which obviously makes sense now. But we this is the end of the video. I don't even want to look at a case no more. Make sure you like, comment, share, and
subscribe.
We'll see you on day 12. Stay tuned.